I actually think more than even Mr. Gandhi's expose and the press conference, it was actually the press conference by the Chief Election Commissioner after that actually just completely destroyed and eroded any semblance of neutrality in people's mind about the election commission. Absolutely astonishing to see the chief election commissioner, who is a bureaucrat, come out and talk like a politician. I must compliment him because he actually gave a better political bhashan than most political leaders in the country. There are 1 lakh out of 6 lakh voters are dubious, suspect. These are voterless. Now, if you turn around and say, how do you know they voted for the Congress? How does anybody know who they voted for?
Right.
I am giving you very clear patterns and clues. Instead of conducting an investigation, an inquiry, and confirming or denying,
right,
you turn around and ask, how do you know they voted? How does anyone in this country know who voted? I think one of the biggest successes of Mr. Gandhi's kind of campaign around social justice 2.0, as I call it, is the fact that all of these are being discussed. A BJP spokesperson would have never even sat and counted before how many of Congress party spokespersons were SC, ST, OBC, or how many of Telangana. He's sitting and actually counting and then bringing it up. Crystal clear that Mr. Gandhi's communication is perhaps the most impactful in the country today of any political leader. Now, could the Congress party's communication be equally impactful? My answer is yes.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Rahul Gandhi's Vote Adhikar Yatra is about to end, which is 31st of August, which is going to be followed again by the big mega rally. Now, what has been the impact of this mega rally? And can India Bloc really maintain the momentum which has been triggered by Rahul's Yatra? And of course, lots of questions around SIR, and many people also coming up with more and more evidence that voter lists have been manipulated. And this again brings back to focus the expose made by Rahul Gandhi. And will there be more exposes now? So joining me this evening is Praveen Chakravarty, who is the head of the Data Analytics Department of Congress, and he's been the man behind the Big Shakti program as well. Thank you so much, Praveen, for joining on HW News. It's wonderful to talk to you. And my first question to you, Praveen, is that how do you look at the success of the Vote Adhikar Yatra now that in just a few days' time, the Yatra is going to end? And can India Bloc really maintain the momentum once Rahul returns from that yatra?
Thank you. I think I must say that we're actually very surprised at the astounding reception that this Vote Adhikar Yatra has received in Bihar. As you know, this is about the right to vote. It's almost very core. So it's not a very typical election rally where we're talking about issues or criticism of the current government. This is about people believing that their vote is being stolen. And more importantly, I think the reason why this has really resonated with people in Bihar is because of this. Once they realize that a political party does not have to depend on their votes to win an election, it also means that the political party does not have to listen to them. They can do whatever they feel like, because they can anyway win an election without having to get their votes in a true and genuine manner. So this disconnect between actually winning an election and listening to people is what is really resonated, I believe, with the people in Bihar. And that is
But
why it's quite a
right.
big success.
But Praveen, there are two things. One is the credibility of the election commission. Now, has that got really punctured with the kind of expose which Rahul Gandhi did? And is there a predominant feeling within the voters of Bihar and also, of course, in other parts of the country that the votes have been rigged, the votes have been stolen?
I actually think more than even Mr. Gandhi's expose and the press conference, it was actually the press conference by the chief election commissioner after that actually just completely destroyed and eroded any semblance of neutrality in people's mind about the election commission. It was just absolutely astonishing to see the chief election commissioner, who is a bureaucrat, come out and talk like a politician. I must compliment him because he actually gave a better political bharshan than most political leaders in the country. I mean, talk about how mothers and daughters will be, their privacy will be intruded if they release the video footage. I mean, come on, don't hide behind mothers and daughters to cover your crimes, and that is what just completely destroyed, eroded, and damaged. And I actually think it's a very serious situation. It will go down in our political history as the single worst moment of institutional damage. That one press conference by that chief election commission.
Right. I mean, now I want to come back to Rahul Gandhi's expose. Now that the yatra is getting over, and in one of his interactions with the press reporters outside Parliament, Rahul said, "Picture abhi baki hai," which means that there are many more things to tumble out of the cupboard. You are the data guy in Congress. You're heading an important department which deals with data analytics. Are we going to see a replication of many more experiments like what has been done in Mahadevapura?
I am not at liberty to reveal anything at this point in time. I will only reiterate what Mr. Gandhi said. Picture abhi baki hai.
Okay, but talking about Mahadevapura, there is a feeling that at the press conference, what Rahul said, that the votes were added in Mahadevapura, but also there are questions that how were you all so sure that the extra votes went to the BJP only? Isn't it just an assumption? And that's exactly why the election commission started insisting too much on affidavit and this, that, and then the BJP leaders started saying that it's an expose which is misleading the people. So don't you think that this kind of an expose should have also brought the proof that this vote went to the BJP?
I find this whole argument honestly very bizarre and illogical. Let me give you an analogy. Let us say you notice some suspicious activity, okay, in your home. You report to the cops. No action. Then there's actual burglary, actual theft in your home. And you go with clear clues and evidence of what has happened and the theft. And you go to the cops. No action. And what if instead the cops turned around and said, "Oh, your security guard was sleeping, so it's your problem. And by the way, prove the crime. It is your responsibility to prove the crime." How would you feel? That's how illogical this whole argument is.
Right.
Remember, this whole thing started with Maharashtra. The whole genesis of this was Maharashtra. And what was in Maharashtra? We very categorically showed, using Election Commission's own data, that there have been huge number of voters that have been added, and magically, in constituency after constituency, the BJP alliance votes also go up in a similar fashion, and then they win that seat after having lost it 5 months earlier in the Lok Sabha election. And if this is not clear enough as a pattern, then we showed in Mahadevapura, listen, there are 1 lakh out of 6 lakh voters are dubious, suspect. These are voterless. Now, if you turn around and say, how do you know they voted for the Congress? How does anybody know who they voted for?
Right.
I am giving you very clear patterns and clues. Instead of conducting an investigation, an inquiry, and confirming or denying,
Right.
you turn around and ask, how do you know they voted? How does anyone in this country know who voted? How they voted?
Right.
I mean, this is so bizarre, this argument.
I also want to ask you about the BLAs. An election commission in its press conference also had said, and many times, it has come out in the press releases, that the political parties, the BLAs, are not there. And just to quote what exactly he said in the press conference, Mr. Gyanesh Kumar, that and also on that, I want to ask you that there are 17,000 booth level agents, and Gyanesh Kumar says that only and also EC said that only 2 such names have been submitted, where the votes were being deleted and the votes were cut in SIR. Why is it that is the party really short on the BLAs, or the party has not been able to reach out to the BLAs? What is Gyanesh Kumar trying to say when he gives this kind of a clarification that only 2 objections came?
See, this is absolute obfuscation. Okay. And that is because I think the EC is very clear that you can just say whatever, because the media is not kind of going to go down to the absolute details and check. Let me give you what has happened. The SIR exercise in Bihar, there were 65 lakh voters that were deleted. The election commission, when we said, who are these voters? Shouldn't we know who are the voters that have been deleted? The election commission initially said to the Supreme Court that no, we will not give this list. Then the Supreme Court forced them to give a list. And you know what they did? There are 90 to 95,000 booths in Bihar. They gave 90 to 95,000 lists, like files of 90,000 files of deleted voters. Which means they are basically saying you have 90,000 people, and in 90,000 people will go through each one file, and if there is a dispute, they will have to go and file a claim. Why are they obfuscating? Why did they not give a consolidated list of 65 lakh?
Right.
And this is what most people are missing. So when they say booth level agents have not complained, what they are saying is we expect 95,000 people to work and find something and then come and complain. And that is, and they want only the voter to go and file a complaint. Tell me if someone's address in an Aadhaar card is wrong, and unless and until they actually start to use it, do they go and complain? Do they go and file a form and complain? I mean, and to say that, oh, no one's complained and hence everything is fine is completely illogical. The second thing I'm asking is, forget the political parties. Forget the political party. Is it or is it not the responsibility of the Election Commission of India to guarantee the sanctity of voter lists in this country?
Absolutely.
It is their responsibility. Why are they washing their hands off and blaming political parties? I'll give you an example. There's somebody who's starting a new political party in Bihar, I'm told. A new political party may not have booth level agents. Does that political party not have the right to clean voter lists? Can the Election Commission turn to that party and say, oh, you don't have booth level agents, so you are stuck with bad voter lists? What kind of an argument is this?
But all sorts of arguments are now coming up, and look at the way this case was argued in the Supreme Court as well when the hearing was on, and what Mr. Rakesh Dwivedi, who was the lawyer for the Election Commission, kept on saying that the political parties political parties need to assist the Election Commission. Would you say that that's the right stance which the Election Commission's lawyer took in the court, that the entire onus is now on the political parties? For the wrong
that is complete. It just shows how their advocate didn't read the founding debates, and the debates in the Constituent Assembly that preceded before the setting up of the Election Commission. If anybody reads that, there's actually a debate saying, should the Election Commission of India be a government body or an independent constitutional body? And Dr. Ambedkar argues that no, it must be removed from the political parties. It must not depend on the political parties. And hence it is an independent constitutional body. Now, for somebody to turn around and say, no, we are entirely dependent on political parties, then why are you an independent constitutional body?
But when you, Praveen, speak to the BJP leaders of the record, and especially since the time this expose happened, many of them say that, Congress has not been able to strengthen its organization, and they blame every wrong for their inefficiencies. They try and blame the institutions. Now, say, for example, what I've heard from the BJP leaders, they've said that Congress has a strong presence in Maharashtra, Haryana, elsewhere. So shouldn't the BLAs have been more vigilant and active? And the basic question what they are raising is that INC organization is strong and this problem could have been nipped in the bud. So is this a structural problem as well, Praveen? Would you see this as a structural problem as well? I mean, that is BJP's assumption, but as a congressperson who's heading the data analytics department, do you feel that more needs to be done to strengthen the BLAs as well on the ground?
Yeah, so I'll answer it in two parts. First, let us say there is theft in your home. If you are told that you didn't have a good security guard, you didn't pay, you were miserly or whatever, and you didn't pay and get a good security guard, so it's your problem, will you accept it? You will not, right? So that's how this argument is, okay? So the argument that, okay, they did not catch it when the fraud was happening, and so it's their problem, is quite bizarre, because why is the fraud happening in the first place? Why is the theft happening in the first place? That's number one. Having said all this, should the so-called war rooms of the Congress party that are being set up before elections be more alert, be smarter? Absolutely, yes. I am not going to mince words about it.
Okay. I'm glad you've like spoken your heart on this, but I'm going to digress a little on some other issues as well. You were part of the Caste census report in Telangana, and you submitted a strong report suggesting greater representation. But Praveen, out of the 12 ministers, only 2 are OBCs. Now, out of the remaining 6, who will now be inducted? How many will be OBCs? And ideally, out of the 18 total cabinet ministers, at least 9 should be OBCs as per their own report. So what do you really have to say on this particular? Because there's a lot of discussion on this caste census report in Telangana.
No, I think first you've got some of the data wrong. Now there are and I'm assuming you're referring to the Telangana cabinet. So the deputy chief minister is a Dalit. There are at least 3 Dalits, 1 tribal, and 3 OBCs in the cabinet. And so, if you look at OBCs, Dalits, and tribals combined, there is definitely a significant representation. Now, should there be more and can there be more? Absolutely, yes. But let us not reduce this entire kind of caste census exercise down to kind of just a token cabinet representation. Yes, that's very, very important, but this goes far beyond. We submitted a 300-page report. There was an expert group that was formed. In fact, the chairman of the expert group, and I was the convener, my chairman is now the vice presidential candidate of the India bloc, contesting in the upcoming vice president elections. So we submitted a 300-page report, and for the first time in independent India's history, an entire caste census of 35 million people was being done across 235 castes, and each one has been analyzed empirically, objectively by a group of experts. And there is discussions that are going on. The report will be placed in the floor of the Telangana Assembly, and after which it will be released to the public, and you will see that there are many actions that are taken. Already, the government of Telangana has taken two actions. One is they've asked for 42% representation for OBCs in the social and the educational spheres. The second bill, ordinance, was 42% representation in the upcoming local body elections. Guess what? Both these bills were sent by the governor of Telangana to the president of India for assent, and the president has been sitting on these bills for a long time.
Right. But, when you speak to the BJP leaders on all these issues, they start pointing out that, Congress does a lot of talking, but they don't introspect as to what's really going wrong within their structures, especially when you talk about the SC, ST, OBCs and the minorities. They say that, oh, look at the list of the spokespersons which Congress has, how many SCs and STs and OBCs they have. I'm purely talking from the point of view of the kind of questions which BJP puts up when these kind of issues come out as a narrative. What would you really say to that? Is there something which Congress where needs to work on? It's maybe the list of spokespersons as well, because these BJP leaders who go on debates, they often point this out, that look at your list of spokespersons, how many SCs and STs and OBCs are there in your list?
See, I think one of the biggest successes of Mr. Gandhi's kind of campaign around social justice 2.0, as I call it, is the fact that all of these are being discussed. A BJP spokesperson would have never even sat and counted before how many of Congress party spokespersons were SC, ST, OBC, or how many of Telangana is sitting and actually counting and then bringing it up. So, in a way, that's actually a success, and the joke is really
because Rahul Gandhi keeps emphasizing on the X-ray, so BJP is doing its own X-ray from their point of view, and they pointed out that when was the last list revised? As far as the Congress spokespersons are concerned, look at the number of SC, STs, OBCs, and the minorities they have.
Yeah, and I think like that's what I said. I think all of these are good discussions, absolutely good discussions. The BJP is correct in raising it. People will, of course, ask, what about you, BJP, also, right? And of course, by raising it, it also puts pressure on some of the internal processes and the composition of teams within the Congress party, and which is all very healthy and towards the goal of social justice 2.0, which is fine. So, one is representation, but please remember, even the Telangana Caste Census the expert group and the report, I'm a Chakravarty and it was chaired by a Reddy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one of, an OBC, SC, ST, always to champion social justice. And Rahul Gandhi is no OBC or SC or ST or minority himself, but he is now the biggest champion of social justice in this country.
Right. But what about the communication strategy, Praveen, of the Congress party? Because many people sometimes feel, and I would like you to share your thoughts also, that you think that the communication strategy needs to be strengthened more as far as the Congress party is concerned. In many, many debates, the Congress spokespersons get overpowered or they lack homework. I don't know how to really see it, but do you think that communication strategy needs to be sharpened much more than what we see currently?
See, I actually don't watch any TV news or debates, and I actually don't even give too many. Yeah, and I don't give too many interviews. You've been kind of somewhat persistent with me, and so I agree. All I will say is Mr. Gandhi's communication and his team and strategy is different from the Congress parties. And I think it is crystal clear, that Mr. Gandhi's communication is perhaps the most impactful in the country today of any political leader. Now, could the Congress party's communication be equally impactful? My answer is yes. Could they learn a bit from Mr. Gandhi's communication strategy and processes? Yes.
All right. Okay, so my last two questions with you, and of course, they're related with you. You're from Tamil Nadu, Praveen, and you're also one of RG's closest political advisors. So will you be playing a big role in the Tamil Nadu elections, which are scheduled for 2026?
No. I don't want to get into closest advisors and all of those things. I'm a of office bearer of the Congress party. I have responsibilities, and there are certain things that I do well and many things that I don't do well in the field of politics. So my responsibility is really more in the realm of strategy, analysis, research, strategy, policy. And because I am from Tamil Nadu, yes, I will definitely be very closely involved in the upcoming election. But election is not just about, kind of all these surveys and strategies and all of these things. There's a lot more to it.
So you
Alliances.
never thought of contesting elections, or you just want to remain at the data level and supervising all the data, and of course you're also heading the All India Professionals Congress as well. So is it like too much if you contest?
No, not at all. Not at all. Absolutely. I have been absolutely open to contesting at any level. It doesn't even matter to me whether it's local body or MLA or MP or any of those things.
So if you're allowed to contest, so you would prefer Tamil Nadu, of course.
Oh yeah, I mean, I speak the language. I'm from there, and that's my hometown. So of course, yes.
Okay, and my last question, there are also rumors that you're working on a biography of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Is that accurate? And if you would like to share a little about that?
No, all I would say is he is one of my mentors. He was, at least, I was very close to him. I don't think that's a secret. In fact, I had launched a program called the Dr. Manmohan Singh Fellowship Program within the
That's why I asked you, yes.
Within the Congress party, we had, I think it was probably the first formal function in the party's new headquarters in the name of Dr. Manmohan Singh that happened last week. Mr. Karge, Congress president, was involved in it. Yes, so I am very close to him. He's my mentor. Could it actually mean some sort of a biography or something in the years to come? Could be, but nothing at this point.
Okay, and just one quick question before I wind up the interview. How hopeful are you about the Bihar elections? The narrative has really turned the tables. It seems that the momentum right now currently is with the India bloc, with a kind of crowd which is rallying behind Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi Yadav. But are you sure that India Alliance will be able to sustain this momentum? What happens when Rahul returns from the yatra? And maybe with some newer issues, BJP might, who knows, they might overpower the narrative again.
See, I think all of this, there's one thing that's very categorically clear. Ever since 2024, just before the 2024 Lok Sabha elections onwards, I think the political momentum, the public sentiment is certainly against the ruling establishment and for the India bloc. Now, whether it actually translates into the electoral outcome that reflects the public sentiment is where perhaps Ganesh Kumar and his team will have to answer. And that's where but as just purely based on public sentiment and what the mood is, the political mood of the country is, I think it's quite clear, absolutely clear. And I welcome anybody to do their own independent scientific surveys and gauge for themselves. The anger against the ruling establishment is extraordinarily high.
Absolutely. And yes, there are strong indications of a very strong anti-incumbency. But one last bit, Praveen, that why don't you come too often for interviews? Go on TV channels. It might help Congress more when speakers like you come up and put your point across.
Well, I think there are others who do that much better. But I've got my work to do, so which I'm doing hopefully for the party.
Okay, wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Praveen, for joining HW. Thank you.
Thank you very much.